Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. Evening, and welcome to another segment of Mixing It Up. And in case you don't know by now, my name is Barry Ross, and I'm proud to be here this evening. This show is live, very live on TV 33, WHPR in Highland Park. We're located at 160 Victor Street in Highland Park, 48203. We just want to let you know that we simulcast this show. We do some interesting things here. We work with Comcast in Detroit. If you go to Comcast 20, you can also catch us. If you don't have Comcast, if you don't have a satellite TV, but you got the box, the digital box, you go to TV 33, and there we are. We're right in your face, and we're also online at TV33WHPR.com. The numbers that scroll across the screen are for you. These are our call-in numbers. We encourage you to call in and have conversation, your opinions, your ideas, your thoughts, your suggestions in regards to the show this evening. My shows, for right now, they're all available on Mixing It Up on Facebook. I have a video player. You can check out any show, anything I've done in the community. It's right there. You can also go to barryross.org. I just want to welcome you this evening. Tonight, my guests are going to be in this following order. I have Mrs. Tracy Green, an attorney from, we're going to say, Children's Welfare Rights for now, and she's a director. What's the organization?
The Detroit Center for Family Advocacy.
The Detroit Center for Family Advocacy. And she really lights up the camera, to say the least. And her lovely daughter, Simone, is here tonight. And she's going to sing a couple songs a cappella. Now, a couple weeks ago, I was at the Metro Day annual breakfast, and Simone got up and sang, and I'm going to tell you, I slipped off my chair. This young lady, at 11 years, are you 11 yet, Simone?
Yes.
It's okay, she's 11 years old, and she should be on The Voice or American Idol. And wait till you hear her. And she's also adorable. She's a good student in school. And we want everyone to know that there are great black children that live in this city, and I showcase them on my show. We want everyone to know, just because you look a certain way, that doesn't mean you can't get a good education. That doesn't mean you can't do well. And that doesn't mean because your hat's sideways that you're a criminal. Simone is a good child. We also tonight have... Now, Minister Shabazz and I, we do cleanups in the community with Jabari and other community members. We have tonight a lady from the west side of Detroit has a cleanup planned in a couple weeks. And her name is Arlissa Hurd. She's going to be on in about a half an hour. She's coming here from Ann Arbor tonight to talk about the funding that they got. The church got a grant, and they're going to board up and clean up houses. And anytime that's going on, we want to know about it. We want to let you know you don't have to sit in your house and get fat and not do anything about your neighborhood, okay? Because there's people out there making a difference. I had a segment planned tonight with a young man, Joe Dixon. We're praying that he shows up tonight because he's 22. He refused to give in to the abuse in his house and the violence in his neighborhood, to be a part of it. And I wanted to have him come here tonight and tell you that no matter what the odds are, you can get out. You might not believe it, but you need to see others are getting out and making a difference. The odds are stacked up against you, I hear you, but it's possible to change your life. Good night. Listen, I've been talking about this for about a month and a half. My very good friend Leanne needs a liver transplant. She's running out of time. There's a new procedure that if you donate a portion of your liver, I know this is easier said than done. It's a lot for me to ask. But listen, this lady's donated half her life to working with men and women that have HIV, that have drug problems. She's just not an ordinary person. She's a community person. And if I could, I'd help her. You need to be between 18 and 50. You have to have the right blood type, right tissue type. And once this portion is implanted in her, this is the interesting part. They can't take your whole liver. But if they take a portion of it and they implant it in the recipient, it regenerates very, very quick. It's bizarre, it's unusual, but they can take a small portion, and nowadays what they're doing with cell transplants and regenerating organs is beyond belief. You call the Henry Ford Health System, and you're going to ask for my friend Nemi. Here's the number, 313-916-1826. 916-1826. Now, you all know what I look like. People that look like me, really, in the city of Detroit, haven't shown too much in the way of honor and trust. And I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me, but I went to Minister Shabazz's event. He brought in Dr. Frances Cress-Welsing this week. Her theory, she's a psychiatrist. She's 78 years of age. She was at the shrine. Malik flew her in, put her up, fed her, took care of her, and she lectured. Her theory is that most of the psychological issues that plague black folks throughout the world, racism's behind it. White supremacy's behind it. I sat there for 2.5 hours and listened to these theories, and I have to tell you, I'm embarrassed. It's such a shame. If you would have heard, now, Minister Shabazz has been lecturing me every day for 3 years. I must hear 2 hours of conversation every night about the oppression. But to hear these theories, to hear what white supremacy has levied, has laid out for generations to come, I'll be honest, I could have vomited. It was so poignant, it was so hard to hear. Only white, I can't even imagine sitting in this room. But it needs to be said. Detroit, we're asleep. Everybody needs to realize that everything's being taken from underneath you. We're living, it's almost like communism is coming. They want to sell and privatize all these corporations in the city of Detroit. They want the water, the schools, the libraries are closing. Think about this. 60% of the city of Detroit has no lighting. What city would allow this to happen? I don't care how strapped they are financially. The police stations close at 4 in the afternoon. I bet you during the Depression this wouldn't have been happening. Transportation. It's all being taken over. Why would we have 115,000 abandoned houses just sitting there, crumbling to the ground? Man, I can take you through neighborhood after neighborhood and just show you where the roofs are just falling. I was at Myers and Grand River a couple days ago, and there was a house right on Myers. I never remember in my lifetime where main streets would be allowed to look like a war zone. I mean, we need to be realizing the fact that it's time to start standing up. It's time to start speaking out and getting out of your house and making a difference. I absolutely couldn't believe this. Okay, moving on, I have a few more issues. Oakman Orthopedic School on Wadsworth near Myers and Grand River. There are 368 students. 133 of them are disabled. Almost 85% of these children are in wheelchairs or walkers. We had a meeting on Friday, the parents network from the school, and so many parents showed up to state, well, let me tell you this. We were going to board up the abandoned houses around the school until Roy Roberts came out and told the school they're closing them down. And that was it for me. And I said, over my dead body. Now, what I believe, what I've just recently learned is this school has changed the lives of disabled children. Where disabled children would not be treated with the dignity and respect of average healthy children physically, they are at this school. They're not treated like lepers. And a lot of them have improved to such an extent from the time they started till a few years after the school that it's changed their lives. There's children there that had speech problems that could barely speak, stuttering, and changed their whole position with speech. I heard so many parents testifying. We have a petition to sign. Malik Shabazz and I have it. It's going to be going around that we are not allowing this to happen. And we're going to have an injunction against Mr. Roy Roberts. You tell me how anybody could allow the closing of a school for disabled children. He closed a school for the deaf, and now to take away a school from children in wheelchairs and placing them of the closest school a couple miles away. And one of the parents said, well, what's the environment like there? What's the deal in violence over there? What's it like? It doesn't matter. I don't care. I've made my decision. I'm going to tell you something. Even if you feel like that, that's not what you say to the public. Okay? There's a way how to talk to people. So my feeling is the mayor of the city of Detroit, the governor, these emergency managers really don't care about you. And I don't know how much more evidence you need to this effect. When after a man beats you and tells you he loves you, you think he's loving you? Is that what someone does? They beat you and then say, I'm sorry, and love you, and then do it again tomorrow, and you forgive him again? How much more are we supposed to take? I'm not asking you to riot. I'm asking you to join us and stand up. Now, G-Drop, Greater Detroit Restoration Project, we board up abandoned houses. We need funding. Send us a donation. We paid for the first 10 houses for the city of Detroit out of our own pocket. And when we went to the mayor and asked for some materials or equipment, you know what he said to us? Mr. Ross, Minister Shabazz, we can't give you a nail. Houses they asked us to close up. When we went back, say, we don't even have a truck. So we're getting off the ground. We board up 70 houses, but we need funding. We're asking you, send us a donation, $5 or more. We've had 2 donations in the last month. We need so much money here. Send it to GDRP, G-Drop, 17321, Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, 48221. We have a PayPal account. Barry, you send it to Barry Ross, care of Greater Detroit Restoration Project. I don't care what kind of credit card you have, we'll take it. Okay, so that's where we are. Where's my phone, man? Great. So right now, we're going to have this beautiful family. I was fortunate enough to sit with them at the Metro Detroit Youth Day. Simone and Mom, Tracy Green, how are you both?
Fine. Doing really well.
You do well in school, I think. What happened to your microphone? There you go. Okay, you're hiding it. Okay, we want to speak close to the microphone. How do you do in school?
Fine.
What's fine?
What?
Like what kind of grades? What's your grade point average? Do you know you get like A's and B's and?
I got some C's.
Oh my God! Pity on you. Okay. You like school?
Not really.
Okay. Should we get into what's wrong? Why don't you like school?
I like some of school. I don't hate school. It's just some of the classes.
You know what? I bet you really like school. What is you like your teachers?
I like some of my teachers.
Okay. You want to say hello to any of your friends or any of your teachers tonight while you're on TV? Did you tell anybody to watch you?
Yes.
Okay. You want to say hello and their name, give a shout out, or do you want me to?
Hi, Kayla. Hi, Travis.
Thank you.
Hi, Coco. Hi, Shakisha. And Travis. I said Travis, right?
Okay. Hello, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We had some calls. Looks like we lost them.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I'd have been hard for me to be on TV when I was your age. Are you a little nervous?
Yes.
What's the scary part?
I don't know.
All right, can we take a second and take a quick call?
Yes.
I bet you it's for you. Good evening, you're on the air. Hello? Hello? Caller, are you there? I guess they're nervous too. All right, one more time, caller, if there's anyone there. Okay. Good evening, Tracy Green. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Can we say hello to the gentleman out here tonight?
The gentleman out there is Mr. Andre Green, who is my beloved husband.
Okay, you want to say hello, Mr. Green?
Hi, Andre.
Beloved husband. How are you? We want to get you closer to the microphone. Tell us a little bit about your directorship of the organization that you are the top-notch attorney.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm the top-notch attorney. I'm merely the legal director.
Okay.
And the Detroit Center for Family Advocacy is a law clinic that is out of the University of Michigan's Law School's Child Advocacy Clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And it specializes in areas where barriers are standing in the way of children either remaining out of foster care or children who are in foster care exiting faster. And I refer to what we do from a legal standpoint as general niche advocacy because it's a general practice. We do a little bit of everything, guardianships, child custody, divorce, landlord-tenant, warrant recalls. There's really no exhaustive list of the kinds of legal actions that we take to represent families and try to preserve children in their homes and get them out of foster care. But it's niche in that all of our cases impact a child welfare case in some way. And by child welfare, I mean cases where families are involved with Child Protective Services and the juvenile court system in the child welfare arena.
Okay, and it's a very noble position. Let's take a quick call, and I want to get back. Good evening. Hello. How are you this evening, caller? Hello. I hear you faintly over the air. Is anybody there? Hello? She's saying, hi, Simone, but we can barely hear you. Can you call back? Someone's saying hi to you, but we can't hear you on the air. Caller, can you do me a favor and just call right back? She can't hear me at all. All right, let's talk about. Wow, this phone is messed up. Okay, let's talk about like a scenario of a typical case. When we talk about a child being opted out faster, now this is somebody whose birth parents, maybe not be around. They put them up for adoption, or they were made awards of the court. How do they come into the foster care? What are some of the scenarios, and what might be a particular case that you might fight for?
Well, some of the scenarios where children come into foster care might involve children whose parents have substance abuse issues that interfere with their ability to keep the children safe. Sometimes children come into care due to physical abuse. It's the kinds of cases that we deal with are those where there's been a substantiated case of child abuse or neglect by Child Protective Services, but there's a particular legal barrier that's been identified that, if removed, can keep the children out of foster care or divert the children from going into the foster care system.
What kind of barrier? Like, what exactly do you mean? Can you be more specific?
Yes. Well, for instance, if Child Protective Services gets a referral that there's abuse and neglect that's occurred in a family, goes out and makes the investigation, determines that yes, there's abuse and neglect that's occurred here, but if we can get this other caregiver, perhaps a relative or another parent, a legal relationship with the child that's established that would satisfy Child Protective Services that that child could be safe with the other caregiver, then that might be something that we'd handle and help that relative to establish a guardianship or a power of attorney, or we might help that other parent to establish a custody order so that the child doesn't have to go into foster care. Sometimes Child Protective Services may believe that the child can remain safely with the parent with whom the child is currently living, but that parent might need some assistance in fighting a what we refer to as slumlords' refusal to make repairs that are required by law for the landlord.
An
to
unsafe environment for the child to be growing up in, unhealthy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So-
Squalor, what have you.
Yes, absolutely. And so if Child Protective Services identifies a particular legal issue that, if removed, and by legal issue I mean with the landlord tenant, it would be that that landlord needs to be forced to uphold his obligations or her obligations under the lease or under the rental agreement, or legal issue in that scenario I just described with the parent needing to get a custody order or the relative getting a guardianship letter. Things that are specifically identified as legal barriers, then those are the things that we can help with in preventing children from going into foster care. And some of the same kinds of cases are things that we handle in what we refer to as the permanency cases as well. Permanency being where we're trying to achieve a permanent home for the child who's been in foster care for an extended period. Typically in those instances, the court has determined that the child's not going to go home. Often in those instances, the parental rights have been terminated, but the child is languishing in the foster care system, and every 3 months the case comes back to the court, and there's this barrier that's still existing that's keeping the child from either being adopted or getting into a guardianship.
What is this
arrangement.
barrier in particular? It's just like they just keep pushing it around. I mean, they have so many. I'm assuming they're inundated with so many cases. Their staff is probably short,
Well,
locally, statewide. I mean, it could be a variety of issues.
the barrier is still a legal barrier in the permanency case. And I think what you're getting at, Barry, is that there's just this myriad of problems that exist within the foster care system itself. I mean, the system itself
broken?
is broken.
Thank you.
There are many areas where there needs to be reform. But we try to go for that low-hanging fruit. We've identified that there are so many instances, really too many, one would be too many, where a simple legal barrier that for a lawyer is easy to resolve, but for a layperson, it can be
Not being a criminal background. I mean, a legal background, a layperson.
exactly.
Right.
For a layperson, it could be overwhelming, and a layperson doesn't know how to serve a spouse who has been out of the picture for several years, and that person doesn't know how to contact the spouse in order to get a divorce. Until very recently, the adoption code required that if someone was going to adopt a child, so this would be an instance to refer to your earlier question about how children can get out of the foster care system sooner. The law required that in order for a person to adopt a child, if that person was married, that person had to have the consent of his or her spouse, meaning that his or her spouse had to adopt with the person who's been identified as the caregiver.
As you're speaking, it's like I got about a million questions every other minute, and it's so diverse. But let me just ask you a couple things before you expound on answers. But are a lot of the foster care homes, they get paid to take on children, isn't this correct?
That's true.
And a lot of them have too many children to get this kind of income. They want the income. I mean, I've met many families in the past of my life from our business downtown take on, is there a limit to how many foster care children based on maybe your age or your ability to take care of all these children? And then, hold on, and then they also get bigger money if they're a quadriplegic or they're disabled and they require 24 care. They get exorbitant amounts of money. And a lot of these homes, I'm presuming, I don't know if this is any of your area or expertise, are just taking them on to get these checks.
Well, what you're describing is a circumstance of abuse. And
Right.
I don't know every foster parent, but
Right.
I have.
I'm generalizing.
Yes, I would say that generally, the vast majority of foster parents are very well-meaning and they intend to provide good care to children. You know, children aren't raised on thank you. There are some abuses though, and children who have special needs are expected to receive more money, that more money being paid to the foster parent for their care. But I wouldn't say it's an exorbitant amount. It's probably not enough, which is, in my opinion, why in some instances there are abuses, because people who are scam artists look for ways to scam any system, and
Sure.
if there's not a lot of resource, they will do whatever they can in order to get the most out of a particular situation.
All right, let me, how can somebody, now, you represent them free? How does this work? If somebody is in this system and they need representation, legal representation, I'd like you to give your contact information, but they can call you and you guys can represent them. I guess you guys are contractual from the state or federally funded or what have you, a part of the practice?
We're not contracted by the state. However, most of our referrals come directly from the Department of Human Services.
In the state of Michigan.
Yes.
Right.
Either through the Child Protective Services worker who's assigned to the case, or the foster care worker, or in some instances the adoption worker. Foster care is contracted by the state in most instances, so private agency that's contracted to perform the foster care services will make the referral, but we are not contracted by the state in any way. And
Okay.
sometimes we have a challenging circumstance in trying to build a rapport with our clients, because there's some inherent distrust between people who find themselves mired in the foster care system or under a Child Protective Services investigation, and they don't trust the agency. And so when the referral comes from the agency, we have to work extra hard to establish a rapport and get the individual to understand that we represent them and that what they tell us is confidential and that we are their advocate. And so it's an interesting dance that we do, but
A stressful dance.
Yes.
Can you hold that thought for a minute? I want to, this person's been calling, and let's see if we can get one person to come through. Good evening. Hello. My God, we're not, Ronnie. None of these calls are coming through. Can you see what's going on? Can they contact your firm directly, or they have to go through channels? It's a process. Take the phone.
Well, they can contact us directly, but our referral needs to come from the Department of Human Services. So when we get self-referrals, we identify who the responsible foster care or child protective services or adoption worker is. We contact that person and ask that person to refer the case. Sometimes we have some challenges with that, but by and large, we are successful in getting referrals under those circumstances.
So, but they can contact you directly?
Yes.
Can you give them your contact information, website, whatever, and then do you think you want to sing tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Give them the contact information. We'll do it a few more times before you go.
The contact information is telephone number 313-875-4233. And the general line is extension 0. My extension is 154.
And your name is?
Tracy Green.
Mrs. Tracy Green. Is there a website or email or?
There is a website. It's lawdetroitcfa.org.
Okay, and then after Simone's done, we talked for a few minutes. I just wanted to ask you, you don't have to, I'm assuming, in order to come to you, there's many ways to come to the foster care system. I mean, you could have literally been abandoned as a baby. So we want to talk about the children that go into foster care that are coming from, I don't even know if they call them orphanages anymore, or children that are just abandoned that come into the foster care because they really don't have a lobby.
Well, there are no more orphanages, fortunately.
I'm older, excuse me. Well, where are they?
Well,
They're all foster care, they're all private, they're in homes?
Well, I would say that if we're doing a good job of caring for children in the state of Michigan, the abandoned children would be in loving foster care homes or with relatives when they can't be with their parents. But there are no more orphanages. There are residential facilities where typically older children, older than 10, sometimes wind up.
Okay.
And
All right, let's talk about that when we come back. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Lady Simone, and what are we going to hear tonight? What song are you going to sing first?
So Good by Melinda Watts.
Okay. And is Linda White watching tonight?
she may be.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with, say it again?
So Good by Melinda Watts.
Okay, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. All right, we're back live with Tracy Green and her daughter Simone. Simone, did you know that one year when I first started taking algebra, as soon as I got into the class, I decided I flunked, and every time we had a test, I put Barry Ross, numbered at 1 through 10, got a red pen and put E and handed it in. I did that the whole year. And I flunked first grade. And in the 6th grade, you know what they did to me? I was so bad. They didn't know what to do with me. They sent me back to the 3rd grade for 6 months to be with all the younger children to punish me. They gave me all my work from the 6th grade in a 3rd grade class. And when we used to have to go to the lunchroom and all my older friends were there and saw me come with these kids, it was humiliating. But they didn't know what else to do with me. I got in trouble every day, went to the principal's office. I got tired of going to the principal's office, so when I was 9 years old, I just walked out and went home. My mother comes home, "What are you doing home?" I said, "Mom, I got tired of going to the principal's office." "Aren't you tired of coming to school every day?" So I'm going to tell you, if you get a C in anything, it's better than nothing. It's better to try and be involved than not to show up. I never showed up, and I know you can do whatever you want. I believe all of us that live on this earth are as good at something as we want, the amount of work we got to put in. There's a trade-off for everything we do. But remember, the good schools, the good colleges, she's going to go to college.
Absolutely.
Right? They want you to do good, so you got to do good for your future, for your children, for your family. All right, again, you know I'm old. Did you know how old I am? I'm 62. October 1st, I'll be 62. I forgot the name of the song again. Tell everybody the name of the song, and then you're going to sing it for us now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The name of the song is So Good by Melinda Watts.
Okay, take it away.
See, you weren't there All the nights I cried myself to sleep, yeah. And nobody was there when my heart was broken in pieces. When I think about all the things he's done, how he brought me out, and how I overcome, I get beside myself, can't help myself. I don't hold it all inside, I just gotta let it out. Sometimes I scream, sometimes I shout, I just might even run around. I leap for joy, I lift my voice, because he's been so good to me, been so good to me, been so good to me, been so good. I lift my voice because he's been so good to me. I remember a time when I couldn't see what he saw in me, yes. Even I was too blind to believe what he said I could be. When I think about all the things he's done, how he brought me out, and how I overcome myself, can't help myself, I don't hold it all inside, just gotta let it out. Sometimes I scream, sometimes I shout, I just might even run around. I leap for joy, I lift my voice, because he's been so good to me.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
You know, I've had about, Ronnie, 30 singers on this show. 29 of them couldn't sing. And they brought music, and they brought background. I got to tell you, you are something else. If I can't, you know, I once had a rally and had a 5-year-old open it up for me, a 5-year-old little girl. If I ever have, in the course of this year, when I have any fundraiser event, will you come sing? I want to get you. She is too much. You are divinely inspired. Can you sing? Can you sing? You got to
A
sing.
little. I sing.
You humble. Mr. Green.
Yes, sir.
She is beyond awesome.
Yes, she is.
My God.
She has a phone call.
All right, let's take it. Say hello, Tracy. I mean, Simone. Say you're on the air. Go ahead. Say hello, caller.
Yeah.
You're on the air. Hello, caller.
Hi, Barry.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi, guest. You all are so fantabulous. This is Sister Adelia Barry. I had to call in on that performance. She's a gem in the making, and a star is born on TV 33 tonight. I know
Adelia.
she's going to make it. Her mother is a very conscious, determined professional, and I love to see it when you bring strong people of color onto this network, and you should continue with that. I think you're a big risk, so you got a lot of people to call. But I appreciate you so much, and thank you, Simone. You're a beautiful sister, young lady, and your mother's done a great job.
Thank
Yes,
you
she
so
has.
much.
Thank you. This
Thank
lady
you.
very rarely calls. She only calls in when someone is tapped. Believe me. She works with us. Mr. Pointer's here tonight from the Better Detroit Youth Movement. She's gone. We have another call. My God, and you're going to sing another song. You know, we had another guest coming, but it's okay. You might sing 2 more songs. All right, so can we get back to your mom for a minute? Or let me just ask you this. You've been singing how long?
Since I was 3.
3. My God. All right, take it. Take it away, Simone.
You're
Caller?
on the air. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hey, Simone, this is Travis.
Hi, Travis.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you on singing. I'm watching you right now.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, Barry, this is our brother.
How are you,
Thank
Travis?
you.
Excuse me for
I'm
eating.
blessed.
Thank you, Travis. Anything else?
Oh, no.
And what kind of talent? What does Travis do?
No problem. But, I run track, and my brother's saying congratulations to my sister, too.
Hey, Travis. Travis.
Yes.
You write tracks? You have a studio?
Do I have a studio?
Did you say?
He runs track.
Oh, you run track
do.
for who? For who?
Oh, I run track for East Detroit.
For East Detroit.
East Detroit High School in East Point.
And what do you run? What's your thing?
I run the 100 open, the 400 open, and the 4x4.
And what's your best time in the 100?
And the 100 11.5.
Okay, all right. And what are you? A junior, senior?
I'm a senior.
All right. And you compete statewide?
I'm trying to compete for states this year. I
Okay.
competed the highest ranking. I've competed is regionals.
Okay. And if your parents allow it, maybe we'll have you on the show too. It would only be fair to have another talented child, right?
Yes.
Okay. Travis, you want to say anything else? Want to say hello to your
No,
mom and
I
your
really
dad?
just, yeah, my sister, she could blow, and I wanted to congratulate her.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling.
Well, Travis is very modest because track is the least of his talents, actually. He's a talented musician and singer and graphic artist.
Oh. So maybe I could have him design for my events and cards and things of that nature. Maybe. Simone?
Yes.
Can he draw a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been singing since you were 3. Now you do gospel a little
Yes.
bit, and you do pop.
Yes.
You know, remind me of like a baby Whitney. You know, Whitney. I don't even think she was when she came on the scene. I think she was about 18. Okay. You're really something else. I'm proud to know you. Honest to God, I really like music, and I'm telling you, I've had a lot of men and women that could not sustain a note. So, you know, when a person sings, they want to take the word, the note, and carry it out and complete the note instead of going to the next note. You hold on to a note, you sustain a note. You know a little. Have you studied music at all? Can you read music?
No.
Okay. I gotta be careful what I ask you. I'm gonna get a script next time. Okay. We're gonna come back with you. We have a call, Ronnie? Okay, Simone, say hello, caller.
Hello, caller.
Hi, Simone. It's Kayla again. You did really good.
Thank you.
Hi, Miss Tracy.
Hello, Kayla. You're up late, aren't you?
No, I had to watch Simone sing.
Yeah, you gotta get closer.
So all of the Bates Academy students are up late supporting Simone tonight, I suppose.
Hey, Kayla,
Yes.
good evening.
Good evening.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes.
If you go to Mixin' It Up, this performance tonight, this whole show, is going to be posted on there in 2 days. Join the Facebook page, MIX apostrophe and Mixin' It Up.
Okay. I'll
And
be watching.
Tell
it
your
a lot.
friends, okay?
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Just good job, Simone. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Caller, you're on the air. How are you this evening?
Hello. Hi, Simone.
Hi.
It's Cousin April.
Oh, hi.
You did a wonderful job. Tracy, you did a wonderful job as well. Simone, I'm so proud of you. You sounded beautiful. You are so blessed, and I'm so absolutely proud of you. Keep up the good work and keep allowing God to use you. Congratulations. I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you.
God, I need a
Okay,
friend like
bye.
her. I
Thanks,
need
Jerry.
that.
Thanks, Cousin April.
Thanks, Cousin April. Ronnie, hold off
Bye.
on the calls for a minute. Ronnie. Can we get to your mom for a minute? She might be getting a little jealous. But I'm going to tell you, on the way home, you're going to be riding. You're going to need a bigger car because your head's going to be going to the top. All right, I want to ask your mom a couple questions. Where we were in regards to children coming into the foster care system from being abandoned as babies or what have you, even as early as the hospital. What's the process with them, and what might be some of the issues, how they're sort of like kicked around and neglected or what have you,
Well,
if you want.
sure. The focus being on abandoned children, is that
Well,
what you want to
I
know
just
about?
want to talk about children that come into the foster care without parents, right? Because you can come into foster care with a few ways. it could be neglect or abuse in the home, or there might not be any parents at all. There's children on the streets, living on the streets, who are in the foster care that have been kicked around, what have you, that have left. So there's a lot of different ways.
Sure.
You can expound on it any way you want in any aspect of it.
I think as far as abandonment is concerned, or at least the way that you're describing it, it's probably more common with older children. So parents sometimes abandon their children, sometimes abandon their children at the hospital. More typically, the abandonment would be with a relative or with a friend. They leave the child there and they don't come back. But I think what you're getting at, which is more of a greater problem, would be children who are really growing up in foster care and they're moving from placement to placement, referring to foster care placements.
Excuse me, and we'll get back with this, but what's the age limit they can be in foster care?
Well,
18?
Well, they can be in foster care until they're 18, except under very special circumstance, which is very recently available, which is called voluntary foster care, where children who, if they are 18 at the time, at any time, if they were 18 in foster care, I should say, they can qualify for a program that is supposed to assist them and with some supports so that they can go into life without having the burden of having no one in their corner.
So excuse me, now this particular scenario, they might be living where? Where might they, in a foster care home?
In a foster care home, but it's not really under the juvenile court system anymore. So,
Okay, 'cause they're 18.
Right.
They've
so they
aged
can
out.
exactly. So they can. There's a problem with aged out children. You're using that nomenclature. It's a term of art in child welfare, and it's because there are so many children who find themselves reaching the age where the wardship would be terminated, and then they have nowhere to go. They have no resources. They have no family supports. Oftentimes, the parental rights have been terminated, and they literally are just out on their own.
Now, has this always been the case once they get 18? Is this something new?
The program for voluntary foster care is new. I believe it's a little more than a year old. There's some recent legislation that allows youth to remain under that allows you to remain under the watchful eye of the Department of Human Services without court involvement. But it's really put in place so that these youth have some supports. They have some stipend. They have to be working or going to school or have some kind of special medical needs.
They have excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, that they have a caseworker
Yes.
that's supposed to be on top of what's going on with them.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Now, what if
sort of functioning as a parent would?
Right.
Someone who can ensure that they are still meeting eligibility requirements throughout the program, and I think it's extended until they're 21. And under the voluntary foster care program, the youth would have the supervision of someone who's stepped up to be a fictive parent to that person.
Now, what if they have a mental liability, a drug problem, what if they have like a dual diagnosis? What if they have they could be, and I know this goes on, schizophrenic, be using drugs, be on the streets, get arrested, for lack of a better term, and get arrested, whatever. Now they're in jail. Could foster care come when they find out about it? Are they going to write them off generally? I'm just trying to find out what really might happen. And I know mental illness with the homeless is rampant, right? It's not a rare occurrence. So now mental illness and on drugs. And they're not taking the medication that's prescribed to them for their, that maybe could stabilize them. And now they get arrested.
No, you're talking about the youth, not the parents, right?
Yes, the youth.
So I by no means profess to be an expert on voluntary foster care. It's really not within my bailiwick, but I know a little bit about it, and I'll share that. I'll start by saying that my background is in foster care. And I started my professional career as a foster care caseworker. And I had experience.
As a lawyer? A lawyer?
No, as a foster care caseworker.
Oh, okay.
And while I was in law school, I was a foster care caseworker.
Oh, so you got firsthand experience. Okay.
Yes. So I say that to say that I've seen a number of cases where children who were either approaching 18 or had become 18 and were dismissed from the foster care system, their cases closed out or terminated in juvenile court, had nowhere to go. And because the system, as we discussed earlier, is broken, there are these kind of holes, these gaps that children fall through. You have circumstances where there needs to be a safety net for these identified
Sure.
Children in this identified category. The foster care system itself, even though it's intended to help children, it does help children in many instances, it is an evil in and of itself. And we have to...
Can you repeat that statement?
It is an evil.
Evil.
Evil. In many instances, it is a necessary evil, but it's an evil nonetheless. The problem that we have as a society is that we don't really view the foster care system as an evil. We see it as an alternative to children being with their families that is better. And oftentimes it isn't. When children are brought into foster care, there needs to be an analysis, a kind of a cost-benefit analysis, understanding that once I take this child from this family or from this community, I am harming this child. I am traumatizing this child. But is the trauma that this child is going to suffer in the home worse than the trauma
What's
and
the
all
trade-off?
the pitfalls? Yes,
Let me
exactly.
ask you, and then we're going to get back to Simone. She's sitting here all alone, wondering what am I going to sing, what am I going to sing. What can we do as a people to get bills proposed in legislature? Because we can write bills. If you say in this, if you state the system is broken and there's holes, how can we fill in some of these holes? Because this is just going to go on. And the current administration in Lansing of in itself, which is predominantly majority Republican, isn't going to fix this because they don't care about this city in general, let alone the underprivileged and the children. We could write bills.
We could write bills.
Anybody can write a bill. It's just taking it to the right representative to bring it to the floor.
Right.
It's not rocket scientry to write a bill, and you might even know how to write a bill. I don't even know. But what can we do to fix this? Some of the things.
Well, I'd say that the first thing that people in the community could do is become more aware of how the system works. And what I mean by that is we all have some kind of generalized concept of what it means for Child Protective Services to get involved with a family or for a child to be in foster care. But
Real
we really
stigma,
don't.
excuse me, a real stigma. Worried that they're going to get taken away, get
Absolutely.
hurt, get scrutinized, go through, check them out, come into their privacy. People are real put off by the city, the government, what have you, as it is. They don't trust the police, generally, let alone foster care.
Right. So what we can do first is become more aware of how the system works, and secondly, and probably even more importantly, after we learn how it works, not abuse it, because we have far too many instances where people in the community, lay people, use the Child Protective Services investigative process as a weapon against another parent or against a neighbor whom they've got a grief against or against a relative whom they
question.
don't like. And
Terrible.
When Child Protective Services gets involved, now these are very hardworking, dedicated people for the most part, but they have a job to do. And when Child Protective Services becomes involved with a family, it's never a better circumstance than if the family had worked out any differences that they might have amongst themselves.
Well, they can mediate a situation sometimes, right? I mean, they can make suggestions and not try to overpower,
A good child protective services worker can do that.
but they get stressed, they get overworked. The last 3 homes they visited were rude to them. Now they pull up to your house and assume same old kind
Right.
of thing.
Well, child protective services workers are not unlike any other professionals
That's
in
right.
that they are individuals.
Right.
And you're going to have outcomes for cases as varied as the individuals who investigate those cases. And so some individuals are predisposed to doing whatever they can to preserve families. Some individuals are predisposed to working out their own personal issues of authority with families. Some individuals are
Sure.
predisposed to having an open mind. I think you see where I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take another break in a minute, and it's really, I mean, we have so many issues between other than this, dealing with children, education, schools, the government, jobs, lighting, whatever. It's just a bit much. Have them hold on. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back. We'll run another spot. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. All right, we have a call. Welcome back to Mixing It Up. We broadcast live on TV 33. We've had the greenhouse, I like that. We've had the green household here tonight.
Greenhouse effect.
I like that, the greenhouse effect. And we're going to take a quick call, and we're going to hear Lil Simone. All right, caller, you're on the air. We need to make this quick and concise, please. How are you? Are you there? Caller? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi. My name is Justin. I'm Simone's brother.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna get it on that one when she gets home. How you doing, Justin? Justin, turn your TV down.
Okay.
You got a comment to make? How'd your sister sound?
Congratulations, Simone. You a superstar right now. My girlfriend said congratulations also. And you on Instagram. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Okay, Simone, you can stand up and tell everybody the name of this next song, and we're gonna hit it. And after this, we're gonna take a quick break again and have my next guest.
He Wants It All by Forever Jones. There's a voice that cries out in the silence. He's searching for a heart that will love him, and longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. And there's a God that walks over the earth. He's searching for a heart that is desperate, and longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. And he says, love me with your whole heart. He wants to say, serve me with your life now. He wants it all today. Bow down, let go of your idols. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all. And there's a God that walks over the earth. He's searching for a heart that is desperate, and longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all, and he says, love me with your whole heart. He wants it all today. Serve me with your life now. He wants it all today. Bow down and let go of your idols. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all. And all of you, more of you, wants it all today. Hey, hey. And all of you, more of you, wants it all today. Oh, oh, and all of you, more of you, wants it all today, today, today. He wants it all today. He wants it all today. He wants it all. And there's a voice that cries out in the silence. He's searching for a heart that will love him, and longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all.
I have to say that we're going to have to take a quick break because I'm going to cry. and I'm going to tell you something, that this makes it all worthwhile what I do to have a child like you come on here and can really touch the soul. And you hit the soul. I can't say enough. I'm going to have you back. We're going to be involved. I want to do whatever I can to help. We need to get her to sing at the Metro Detroit Youth Day on the stage. I'm going to call Ed Dees. You are wonderful. And I wish you were my child. I'm very proud to have had somebody with your talent, and your mother. Very talented house. I've never had anybody on an hour and 20 minutes. I could not keep you guys on here long enough. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you
And
for
we
having us.
Thank you. We want to learn more about the nature of the system that's broken here, and we're going to have you back. So we're going to take a quick break. Thank you both very much. Just real quick, give them the website again from your vocation, from your job.
It's the Detroit Center for Family Advocacy, lawdetroitcfa.org.
Phone? Telephone number?
313-875-4233.
Okay. Stay put. We're going to take a 30-second break, and we're going to be back with the amazing Joe Dixon. So don't go away. Wow. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.
1000.
You know, I don't know if most of you know this about me, but I was in a motorcycle accident many years ago. I can only tear out of one eye. But my good eye that I can still cry out of, they ran out of toilet paper in the bathroom for me, and I had to use, like I got this towel here. So, all because of Simone. Can you believe it, 11 years old? Wonderful. I promised you an amazing young man who, against all odds, has decided to be successful against the odds in his environment, home, neighborhood, what have you. Starting next week, Joe, if he can find his way here, is going to have a 20 to 30-minute segment every week if he wishes. Joe, I want you to take it away. We got 9 minutes. I want you to talk about yourself and where you've come from. So take it away.
Okay.
Gotta move up, Joe.
Okay. Let's see where to start. My background. I am
I was temporary court ward for the city or this state of Michigan. I spent all of 14 years in the abuse and neglect and in group homes. I had the great opportunity to meet a gentleman who helped to mentor and to mold me and to structure me into being someone great. I have that great pleasure. Let's see. I had some issues with growing up in my family. I unfortunately didn't have my father in my life. I had very little of my mother, but I, from a very young age, saw where life was headed unless I decided right then and there to do something productive and constructive with my life. And so here I am today. I have been in all of maybe 35 group homes.
Oh my God.
It's been a few. I have bounced from school to school. At one point in time, I couldn't even keep up with transcripts. It just moved so frequently. I have been with maybe 8 different organizations. I have.
What does that mean?
Well, I had organizations, and I don't know if I'm supposed to mention the organizations.
Well, what kind of, when you say organizations, were they neighborhood organizations?
Group,
Were they
actually, group home, yeah,
Okay.
government organizations, group homes. Spent usually between 8 months and maybe 24 months.
Can I just jump in here for a second,
please.
if I may, to give it maybe a little help and focus? How old were you when you left your parents' home initially?
7.
7 years old, and you left because
Abuse and neglect. My father was absent, and my mother was struggling a lot.
was she beating you?
I don't want to say it was beating me. She just
Verbally?
it was more the neglect. My mom just she didn't quite understand me, and so she in a failed attempt, I guess, to correct whatever issues she assumed that I had, failed.
Okay, so how did this come to the light of foster care, or however, when you were 7 years old, who came to help you to get out of there?
I had an investigation done when I was 7 years old.
Why?
For actually, that was an instance with my younger sister and me. My mother had just remarried, and she was having some issues with her husband at the time, and he was verbally abusive to her and verbally abusive to me and my sister, and in some ways physically abusive to both me
So
and
what,
my
your
sister.
school found out about this? I mean, who?
I ended up going into school one day with a few bruises, and
There it is.
and the teachers asked, and I had to tell the truth, and I told, and come home that day, and there they were, ready to conduct an investigation.
Okay, so now you leave the home
Yep.
and you go into all
foster
these
care.
different group.
The first, actually, when I originally left my home, I went into a foster care home. It was me and 2 other young gentlemen, if I remember. And I spent 16 months there. And I actually, they transferred me to another group, a larger group home. And I spent a lot of time there.
So first of all, let me say thank you for coming here with your courage and talking about this, because I know this isn't easy. And really, I appreciate your brevity coming here and your willingness to try to let other young people see. I wanted you to come here because I want other young children, youth, to know you can get out. You went to 35 odd homes. And we talked about this a little, but how did you decide that you weren't going to be a part of what society had laid out for you? Did you use drugs too?
No.
Oh, that's
No,
a miracle.
I never really could understand the connection with drugs of any sort.
Okay, all right. Okay, so how did you decide? You must have had like a wake up. What were you saying to yourself? How do you get out?
Well, when I was that young, I was actually really, really fearful about the future. And I've always been very fearful about the future because I've always been, from a very young age, even the I call it the point of cognitive reasoning, a point where you are rational and you understand that you exist in this universe. And when I became of cognitive function, I saw all the other youth and even the ones that actually still been in their homes with their families, and the things that they were doing and the directions that they were going. I had friends of mine who turned to gangs and violence, and I saw where their lives were going, and I saw their older brothers and a lot of them, their issues with their fathers. And I said to myself that I will not let my father being absent in my life be a product of me being a negative person, and I won't let the negative things that are happening in my life, that are abundant in my life at that time, influence me in any negative manner. So
Do you realize, not to interrupt you, but do you realize now that that's rare? That someone that's been through all this to not do anything but the wrong thing?
You know what? And a lot of people tell me that, and they've been telling me that for years. I can't really explain why I feel and I do the things that I do in a positive manner. I can't see someone who is, or anything that is derived in darkness to not see the light.
But okay, that's profound, but look at all the other young people that aren't doing what you did, right? I mean, the majority of teenagers and youth are a product of the environment. You are rare. That's what I'm saying to you. Right. You look around. What percentage of the children, youth, teenagers, adolescents are getting out and defying their negative environment? It's low.
Very, very
okay,
low.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. I know that statistically showing there is a 1% of every youth that has the opportunity to attend school once they've entered the foster care or juvenile delinquent system. Only 1% of all of them will have the opportunity to graduate high school. And 1% of that 1% have the opportunity to even attend college.
Well, why wouldn't they have the opportunity to attend high school? No one would stop them from attending high school.
Most of them don't finish high school.
Yeah, I didn't finish high school. But they have the opportunity. The question is, what percentage of them would graduate anyway? Maybe that's the
1% of the entire amount
in foster care would not graduate.
Will have the ability to even complete high school, and 1% of that would have the ability to attend college.
All right, we got a minute, if that, real quick, to hit everybody with an inspirational message. If they're 17, 16 years old, and they're thinking about robbing someone tonight, selling some drugs, walking out of school, hitting their mother, raping somebody, what do you got to say to them?
The most profound thing I can say is if you think of something and you know it's wrong and you know what you're about to do is something negative, that is a reason enough to stop. Any point in time where you, what's the word for it? Where you, I don't even know.
Pick another word. It doesn't matter. We got to go.
Where you, I can't even think of another word. Apologies. You think of doing something negative. It's a voice to you to saying, don't do it. At any point in time, you have to second guess yourself. You have to, take a step back and listen to that little voice in your head telling you not to, because 9 times out of 10, it's not right for you.
I'm going to give you something my older brother always says. Think it through, not to. Think about after, before. Think about what's going to happen. If you don't care about yourself, you need to care about yourself, and that one hot instant, one bad mistake can ruin your whole life. We got to go. And I appreciate you coming on for a minute. And hopefully we'll see more of you. We'll be back next week. I want to thank the Green family. And we have a city full of great people. We just got to showcase them, and that's what I'm all about, bringing out the good. We know there's bad. There's bad in me. All right, we'll be back next week. I love you all. Stay safe. Do something on your block this week. Help somebody. Help pick up the trash. Send us a donation. G-Drop, 17321 Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, 48221. Okay, see y'all next week. If I tap on, okay. We appreciate everybody that's a part of the station, part of the show. Want to thank our engineer. Thank everyone. See you. Good night. We'll be back next week. Are informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m., join me, Barry Ross, mixing it up on TV 33.
1,000 men's suits. And right now at Sermons, you can buy one and get two free. Not one suit, but two free. Buy one suit, bring two friends. Buy one suit, bring two relatives. Buy one suit, get two free. Bring your pastor, your boss, your teacher. Buy one suit and get two free. Sermons with 90 years of experience, carrying jeans, exotic skin shoes, sets, shirts, leather, sweaters, everything for the well-dressed man. Buy one suit, get two free. Sermons on Randolph in downtown Detroit.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin.
Did you know that there are over 100,000 abandoned homes within the city of Detroit? If you are tired of abandoned, dangerous houses in your neighborhood, please support the Greater Detroit Restoration Project.
Please make all checks and money orders payable to the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. The mailing address, 17301 Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, Michigan, 48221.
All donations will help fund the expense of boarding up abandoned homes within the city of Detroit and Highland Park. For more information, contact Barry Ross at 248-417-9696 or Minister Malik Shabazz at 313-646-3375.
You are going to want to check me out. First Wednesday of every month. Join me, Barry Ross, remixing it up.
Actually, I have
It's
a pretty hectic schedule. I'll try to.
I'm going to be
Getting a hold of him is like calling the president.
You have no
the way
idea.
our society is run. Well, 8 p.m., bringing you featured guests in relation to community, education, violence, what's happening on the streets in our